Good morning. I'm here with Yossi Dworkin and his team as they're preparing the incredible barbecue for tonight's Lag BaOmer celebration at 4 o'clock. Yossi, tell us what we have to look forward to.
So we have 19 delicious briskets waiting to go. Almost finished all of them so far. We're having them resting so that they'll be absolutely perfect for everyone who comes. We have our maple bourbon glazed chickpeas, smoked chickpeas, which we can see on here also, and a bunch of other delicious meats.
So what time should we stop eating to get ready to build an appetite?
Yesterday, should we?
Well, today is Lag BaOmer, and everyone knows that we have bonfires or barbecues, anything to do with fire. Why? Because today is the day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who revealed all the teachings and mystical dimensions of the Torah known as Kabbalah, and then later Chassidut through the Arizal and the Baal Shem Tov in the 16th and then in the 18th century. But today's the day that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who taught Kabbalah, passed away. And on the day that he died, he revealed the greatest secrets of the Torah, the deeper dimensions of Judaism. And therefore he gave us the fire, the passion, the love of Judaism that you could only gain through learning Kabbalah and Chassidut, Jewish Hasidic philosophy, that reveals the inner dimensions of the soul of the human being and God in this world. But there's another custom of Lag BaOmer. Just like children play with dreidels on Hanukkah, children play with bows and arrows. And the question is, what is the meaning of the bow and arrow on Lag BaOmer? And a famous reason is that the Talmud says that in the days of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he was like the rainbow. Just like the rainbow is God's covenant to never destroy the world, to be a merit and a protection for the world. His lifetime, he was the physical rainbow. There was no need for a rainbow because his merit, his righteousness, protected his whole generation like the rainbow. And therefore, bows and arrows, rainbow, the shape of a bow, we have the bows and arrows to remember the great righteousness of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But another reason is as follows. You see, there's two types of forms of ways of defeating an enemy. When you have an enemy, if they're in front of you, in the olden days, you used a sword or a spear. But what's if the enemy is far away? Then you would use a bow and arrow. But in order to shoot the arrow, you have to pull the bow all the way closer to yourself. And only when you bring it back to yourself can you shoot the arrow for a great distance. So too spiritually. We all have two types of enemies. We have enemies that are on the surface. They confront us, like combat, like face-to-face combat, where you could use a sword or a dagger in order to kill that enemy. A spiritual enemy that tries to harm you or confront you with challenges and struggles that every person has in their lives. But then there's an enemy that is subconscious. We don't understand the deeper workings of this enemy. We just feel its influence, its impact. And in order to shoot the arrow for a further distance, we have to pull the bow back. We have to delve deeper into our subconscious character and nature and understand the underpinnings of our soul in order to get to the root of the problem of what our challenge is and what our struggle is, because this is a more difficult, complex form of combat. And when we were in Israel just 2 months ago, we visited wounded soldiers, amputees at Tel HaShomer Hospital. And they have a very unique hospital there because they have rooms that open up to a garden, so the patients could just wheel themselves out of their hospital room into this beautiful field, this beautiful garden. And we saw something really magnificent. There were these women that came, people come to visit the soldiers, to cheer them up, to do things with them. And these soldiers are all strong warriors, and here they are in wheelchairs. So these women brought a sport that the soldiers can do, which is archery. They set up in this field next to the hospital where the patients come out onto, this big bullseye, and the soldiers were sitting in their wheelchairs, some of them with no leg or no legs, different wounds, and they were doing archery, shooting, working on the sport of perfecting their archery. And this brought joy to the soldiers and gave them something to do that was exciting. And the bows and arrows, to me, after that visit to the hospital, symbolizes the message of Lag BaOmer, which is these soldiers are dealing with trauma, with what they experienced. Some of them were Nova survivors, and they have so much inner, deeper pain that will take a while, a long time to heal, but it's a deeper dimension of pain. It's not just a external, superficial challenge in life. It's something that is deep in their psyche. And how do we uncover that? How do we deal with it? We have to learn the deeper spiritual dimensions of the Torah to understand the meaning of life, the purpose of life, of our soul's journey. Only through that deeper delving into the soul of man and the soul of the world and the soul of the Torah can we find healing through those matters. We live in a day and age now after October 7th that the entire Jewish world has been traumatized. We are all dealing with this inner pain and struggle with so many questions, and it's only through the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, revealing Kabbalah and Chassidut and understanding and questioning and delving into the deeper dimensions like the bow, pulling back deeper into ourselves, that we come to realize the unity of the Jewish people, the mission of the Jewish people, our purpose in this world, and gives us the faith and the courage to overcome our challenges. There was a rabbi in Israel, his name is Rabbi Paley. His son married a girl a few years ago, and 6 months after they were married, she was standing at a bus stop, and a terrorist rammed into the bus stop. And she was wounded, taken to the hospital. They had to perform emergency surgery, and they had to amputate her leg. When her husband of 6 months came to visit her in the hospital, she looked at him and said, "Tell me, if you have known that I would only have one leg, would you still have married me?" And he looked at her and he said, "I do not know. I cannot say I would have married you had I known that you would have one leg. If you had one leg, I can't say I would have married you. But now that we are married and our husband and wife, I don't look at it like you lost a leg. I look at it like we lost a leg." This is the deeper perspective. It's not that these soldiers are amputees and carry the pain and the trauma. We all collectively share that pain because our bodies may be different. Our bodies may be separate. But on the deeper spiritual level, Chassidut and Kabbalah teaches us that we have one collective cosmic soul that is bound to one another and bound to God. And that deeper dimension of strength is what can help us overcome all the deeper challenges that we are facing. And more than ever, we need the light, the warmth, the passion, the fire of Judaism, which is the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So come celebrate with us this joyous day at Palm Beach Synagogue at 4 o'clock. Have a wonderful day.